My name is Patriciatuaweri, and you're welcome to The Real You. Yeah, this is The Real You, and this is a channel that is created specially for you. I call it a special channel that is created for you, not just you, for me, and for everybody that is alive. That's because life is a continuum of events. Life is a school. Life is a journey. Life is a battlefield. Whatever nomenclature, whatever description you want to give to life, it tells you that there are rules to this game, because in a battlefield, you need to adhere to the rules. In a game, you need to adhere to the rules. And if you don't keep to these rules, you will be termed disqualified, or you will be disqualified. Yeah, that said, what we do here in this channel is very special, because while other channels tend to talk about other people, we tend to talk about you. We tend to bring out you. We talk about you because we make you to know that you are the one that is in the playing field of life. You are the main actor in your life. You are the one that is the instrument that you can use to become whatever you want to be. That's because everything that you need to be who you're supposed to be is already inside of you. And it's just for you to draw out from within you and live life to the fullest. Now, life is meant to be lived purposefully. Life is meant to be lived intentionally. Life is not meant to be left to chance. That's why sometimes you see people that you would have ordinarily not expected to do well, doing well in certain areas, and it's amazing. Maybe that's why the author of Ecclesiastes says, "A race is not for the swift, neither the battle for the strong, nor bread for the ones that are intelligent, but time and chance happens to everybody." You know, everybody's given equal opportunity, equal time. Timing is the main thing. Equal time, 24 hours, you wake up, you go to bed, and it's not much of how, but what you do with your time that matters. Some people are waiting for that big bang when they will just hit it big, like they will tell you when everything is put in place. But you know what? In this channel, we'll tell you that small things matter. How you respond to small things, how you react to small things, the actions you take when things happen around you matters a lot. That said, I welcome you if you are here for the first time. Please subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that next time I do a video like this, it will come right into your box. And I tell you something, the things that come out of this channel are very, very inspiring and very educating. So I said to talk about last week. I actually promised 2 weeks ago that I was going to talk about, in my last 2 videos, I actually promised that I will be dealing with the 6 tested and proven secrets of life that are in my book. And I left a link for us to go and get the full book. It's a small book. It's not too voluminous, but it's packed, filled with a lot that can turn your life around. I said I was going to be dealing with these 6 principles for the next few episodes of this channel, or in this channel. And last week, or rather my last episode, I started with separating yourself and standing out, leaving the crowd and standing out, and I'm going to continue with it today. We live in a world where we are expected to live in conformity. That's because people have made rules for us before we were even born. Sometimes we are born into homes where there are rules. You have to wear this on this day. You have to not do this. You have to walk a certain way. In this home, we don't do this. We don't do that. And so when you are born, you just adhere and begin to follow the strict rules and regulations that are already put for you before you were even born. And so if you try to deviate from those rules, you will be termed a defiant. You will be termed a black sheep or whatever of the home or the company or of the nation. So we all work within these rules. And we are meant to conform to the standards and to the patterns of what we saw. So breaking the rules most times makes you look like you're an outlaw. But you know what? We're not all meant, or we're not all created to be in one mold. That's why in His wisdom, God, the creator, had put uniqueness in every one of us. And guess what? That's what this channel does. This channel brings out the uniqueness in you. This channel is the one that makes you to look inwards and tell yourself, there's one me in this whole world. There is nobody like me. There is nobody that can take my place. That's why my thumbprints are different. That's why my DNA is unique. And that's why my giftings are different. If you don't see yourself as different, then you will be with the crowd. And like I say again and again, nobody knows the names of the people that are in the crowd. The only names that are known are the ones who separate themselves and stand out in their different endeavors at their different times in life. When they come into this world, they refuse to follow the patterns but do something differently. Now, I'm going to say something that some people may be wondering, is she supporting somebody breaking out of royalty? No, 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 not at all. In this channel, I do not support in this channel, I do not support people disobeying authority. No, that's not what I'm here for. But I'm talking about the fact that when you discover who you are, when you understand who you are, and you know your uniqueness, you go all out to pursue your true self with the giftings and the talents and the things that are around you. That's why we see people like Prince Harry, even though he's from a royal family, where he would live comfortably, where he doesn't need to do so much to be known because he is royalty. Standing out now. Today, you hear news about him. He's not the only person in the royal family, there are quite a number of them. I love to look at the history and I learn a lot from the royal family. If you look at some of my videos, you will know that I've talked about Camilla, and I've talked about King Edward, and so on. So the reason we hear about Prince Harry is because he has decided to stand out and decided to separate himself from all the people that are in the lineage of the royal family. Today, I'm not talking about Prince Harry. I'm talking about other people that have decided to stand out. Today, I'm not talking about Prince Harry alone. I'm just using him to make us to understand that you will only be seen, heard, celebrated when you recognize who you are and then you begin to follow through with what you have inside of you that will make you the best and unique version of you. That's why we hear about Harry today. He's done something entirely different. People may not like him, people may not believe in him, people may think, oh, why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? But you see, if he was just in the crowd, remember he has an older brother who is the heir apparent now. We probably wouldn't have even heard about him. Maybe some visit here and there and all that. That's what it means to separate yourself. Find something that is within your giftings that you're given and pursue it passionately. It's not always it's not always accepted, and trust me, the lone that part is usually very, very lonely when you decide to be you, when you decide to live the life that is different from other people. It's usually a lonely part, but it is a part that makes you to become part of history, and it is a part that makes you to leave footprints on the sands of time. So whenever I talk on this channel, I mention three things that are inevitable in the life of anybody, anywhere in the world. And these are people. You will meet people every day as you wake up. The next one is events. Things would happen, occurrences, phenomenal things. And then the third one is that you will go to places. Now, how you navigate your way around these three things is what determines what happens to you. And you know, life is a continuum of events. That's what we do in this channel. I call this channel the studio of life. This is the channel where you learn about life. And you know that life is like a school where you keep moving on, you keep advancing. You know, sometimes some people go to church or whatever places they worship, and then they want to pray against challenges. But on this channel, I tell us again and again that challenges are part of life. They are like the examinations that we write, that when we pass them, we move to the next level of life. It's like a little child wanting to walk. If the child does not stand up, take a few steps, fall, and rise again, that child will remain in that place. So, life is about obstacles, overcoming them, and then moving to the next one. So what we do here in this channel is that we look at the things that happen around us, we look at the places that things are happening, and we look at the people around us. And what we do is we look at the principles that made the people that overcame, that thrived, that made history. What did they do? How did they do it? And then we apply them to our lives so that we too can become history makers. We will not just be those people who just pass through life. That's what this channel is all about. So if you're here for the first time, if you are just coming across this channel, I want to say a very big welcome to you, a very big shout out to you. Ooh, see me rolling the drums for you. And I'm saying to you, you are very, very welcome to The Real You. This is the channel that is created specially for you. This is that channel where we don't just talk about people, we don't just talk about celebrities, quote and unquote, because you too are a celebrity in your own capacity. But we talk about you as a celebrity and how you can actually be celebrated. And we help us, when I mean us, I'm talking about me too, because I'm here to learn, to bring out the best in us. So what you're going to do for me to become part of this community of achievers, not just dreamers, but dreamers and doers, is that you will hit the subscription button and the bell icon so that next time I do a video like this, it will get right into your box. And trust me, you don't want to miss any of the videos that come from this channel, because they are not just educating, but they are also inspiring and they are uplifting. And trust me, when you apply the principles that come out of this channel, you will stand out anywhere. So today I'm talking about what I've titled Standing Out Can Save You. Separating yourself can save you. It can actually make you to be saved, because you will not be in the mob, you will not be in the crowd, you will not be amongst the multitude. Like I said, people do not know the names of the people in the multitude. So when you stand out to be saved. And I will be using some characters as I talk about this all important topic today. First on the line that I want to talk about is a woman that is in the Bible that is called Rahab. You will get her story from the book of Joshua. Down, you can read about her. She was a prostitute. Yes, she was a prostitute. And in my book, Why Did the Prostitute Leave? I said something. I said, I'm not sure parents will be proud to introduce their children. Oh, meet my daughter, she's a prostitute. Or meet my son, he's a prostitute. Or meet, no, people would be proud to say, meet my child who is the CEO of this, who is the founder of this, who is the inventor of this and that. But that's what this lady found herself doing. I don't know the circumstances under which she found herself into prostitution, but that is another thing. I'd like to get your feedbacks on that. What do you think? Do you think it was hunger? Did she decide to go into it just for the sake of going into it? But because I'm asking this question because she is a successful person, and that's why I'm using her. Because there are certain things she did that even people who are maybe CEOs and whatever may not even understand. Now, one of the things that people who stand out do is that they define their situations uniquely. They have a personal definition of their situations. What do I mean by that? One of the first things that we notice in life is the fact that after creation, man was meant to name the things that were on earth. So man called it table, man called it roof, man called it YouTube, man called it telephone, man called it everything that you can see. And whatever it was that man called it, that's the name. So in the book of Numbers 13, When the spies went to spy the land and they came back and they gave their reports, hear what God had to say. God had to say that as you have spoken, so will I do it. Wow. Because God couldn't break his principle, he couldn't break his word. What he had said is, what you open your mouth to say is what I will give to you. So they said the land was big, it was good, but they couldn't enter into the land because of the giants. So God said, okay, if that is what you call it, I will also agree with what you have said. That's why it's important what we say with our mouth, because with the words of our mouth, we're justified, and with the words of our mouth, we're condemned. Is whatever name you give to your situation that it is. All the things on this earth. Sometimes I laugh at when they say Hurricane Rita is coming. And I tell myself, how can you give Hurricane Rita, beautiful name like Rita to Hurricane? Hmm. I don't have anything with Rita. I'm sure there are plenty hurricanes and there are plenty tsunamis that they give beautiful names. Please, if your name is Rita and you're watching this, it's not about you. It's just a coincidence that that's the name that came into my mind. So you need to define your situation properly. Give it the right name. If you say, I am dead, that means that everything begins to work to make sure that you are dead. But if you say, I am able, then it's a different ball game entirely. Everything will begin to say, okay, she's able, he is able, they are able. Let's all go out. The world, the universe, nature, everything will begin to work for your ability to comfort. You will begin to see unusual help. You will even see strength from within you. So the number one thing that anybody that wants to stand out and be different and become an impactful person and leave footprints on the sands of time can do to be different is to actually have your own definition of everything that comes your way. So back to Rahab, that is our example for today. When Rahab came into the scene, from what we know, is that she met the story that was told her that they were going to be destroyed. Jericho was going to be destroyed. It's like hearing the news on television. It's like hearing rumors about calamities and all that. That was what the news line said. That was what the news carried. But guess what? She had her own definition. She had a mindset of hers. So what she did was she said, I know that's the generality, but I choose to be different. To be different is by choice. So that's what she did. She did something differently by believing something differently. It's very important. The whole news could be carrying something. Now, like I said, one of the instruments that makes us to conform or makes us to be uniform is the educational system, the news media, and so many things. I would just like to stop there. I do not have any issues with the media, neither do I have any issues with the educational system. I'm talking to you today because I have some bit of education. But any system that makes you to be uniform, like I say, we were made to wear uniforms when we were growing up. We were made to write in the same pattern when we were growing up. And so we thought that was it. And today, too, people like to wear uniforms. So if you do not wear the uniform, you tend to be the odd person out. So if you want to stand out, you must define your own situation differently. Do not succumb to what the media tells you. If the media tells you, okay, by the end of this year, we're going to lose so million of people, and you agree and you begin to say it, it's as a man thinketh in his heart and says in his mouth that his life goes to. So when such a thing comes your way, just like Rahab did, she singled out herself and she went on further to change her company. Like I said in my book, which I'm leaving the link below, I'm leaving the link for you to get a free copy of the PDF of the book, is that she changed company. Yes, if she was in the company of people who were talking about, oh, calamity is coming to Jericho, calamity is coming to Jericho, then trust me, she would have been part of those who were destroyed. But here she was, she knew this is a reality. It wasn't false. The people were coming to destroy Jericho. Jericho was going to go down. Nobody was going to be saved. It was a reality. It was not a fairy tale, but this woman chose to be different. What are you different about? What have you defined differently? Are you defining your life based on the things that people have told you about? Are you defining your life based on what the educational system has told you? Most times, the educational system tells us you can't go beyond this. I've heard so many people who said that they were written off by their teachers, but today they are not what their teachers said they were going to be. They've gone far beyond what the teachers told them. So do not let anything define you. Have your own definition and have your right company, which I'm going to be talking about soon because I will be talking about relationship. But just to say, so it's important that you have your own special definition, your own special meaning, your own special, give it a name. Call it good, call it excellent, call it beautiful. That's why we give names. So you name your place, you name your circumstance, you name your event. An event could be bad, but you could decide to give it a name that can change the situation. Do not let anybody, do not let any event, do not let any place give you a name that is not you. You know, in the Bible, we see where a man was called blind Bartimaeus. Can you imagine? They had used his name to define him. They had used a circumstance to define him. They had used an event to define him. They had used something around him to define him. We'll be getting to that soon. But the next thing again you need to do, like I said, is to actually get a team. When you define yourself, define your path, define your circumstance, you cannot go through life alone. So it's important that you define and then you get a team. Who is a person that I need to go through this? Nobody can go through anything except they have people with them. That's why at the very beginning of creation, the first thing after creation was a companion. So we're created to be a community. It's very important that we know that there's no one person. You know, they used to say this adage in my place that if you kill or if you go hunting and you kill a big animal, if you want to carry that animal by yourself, all by yourself to the community, you may be put to death by the weight of the animal. It's only greedy people, they say, do that. Now, as simple as that adage is to tell us that when you have defined what you want to do, you need to get people to be there for you, which is your team. I'll be talking a lot about relationships very soon in the upcoming videos, but for now I'm just trying to relate how you can use this thing to stand out. Now, having said that, there's something else that is very important, and that's the fact that you must have your own boundaries. We call them values, we call them beliefs. Your own boundaries, you must set them. If you let people set boundaries for you, they may be limiting you because nobody knows how far you can go in life. Nobody knows your capacity. You're the only one that knows your capacity. You're the only one that knows how far you can go. So if you let people to set your boundaries, then they may be putting you in a cocoon, restricting you in a place that you may not be able to go beyond. But when you set your own beliefs, how far can I jump? Set your targets. How far would I be able to go? And then you also go beyond that to also have your values. What are the things that make me me? What are the things that I stand for? You know, somebody normally said this. I think I heard, I don't know who, but there's a quotation that says that if you don't stand for something, you will fall for everything. Set your boundaries by yourself. Tell yourself, this is me, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, and this is how far I can go. And these are no-go areas for me because I know that I cannot do them. Why am I saying it? Is that if you are not a very good sprinter, that's to do 100 meters dash, and you have strength for long races like 800 meters or 1500 meters, and then you follow somebody who has the stamina for 100 meters dash, and you go and run a sprint with the person, you may finish the race, but not at the time that the person who has the wherewithal for the 100 meters dash would finish it. I've watched people who do 800 meters, 1500 meters, and I'm amazed. I'm like, where are they getting the energy from? But if I try it, I'm going to gasp for breath and I may eventually give up. But I know that I had a little strength for 100 meters dash and thereabout when I was younger. Now, that said, you need to set your boundaries. So if I now tell myself, okay, I'm going to go for 1,500 meters, and that's not where my strength lies, I may be doing what I don't know how to do. So, like we normally say, putting square pegs in square holes and round pegs in round holes. So, you put your own boundaries, set your own boundaries, have your own belief system. Tell yourself, this is what I can do, and I know I can do that. That is very important. When you have set your own boundaries and you've set your own values, and you know that this is the name that I've given to this circumstance, nobody can stop you. Like the story of Rahab that I talked about, while the nation or the society had shut down for fear of the Jews coming in, she opened her heart and received strangers. Have you seen the difference? She did not allow the society to define her. It's very important. If you allow the society to define you, then you will never live to your full potential and you may never be heard. So you need to get out of the cocoon. That's why when I started, I talked about Prince Harry. Get out of the cocoon. Get out of the thing that has been set for you. Break boundaries and tell yourself, I can go beyond this. I can go this far. This is not me. This is not me. Let nobody put me in this cage. I can go further than this. And these are the things that I cannot do. So what did she do? She decided to accept people that the society or her nation would not have accepted because she was looking for something. Which takes me to the next thing, is that you need to be very, very intentional about life. Be purposeful. Now, she wasn't the only prostitute, she was not the only woman, but she decided that I am not going to die along with every other person. I am going to live. It doesn't matter who has said what. Can you imagine? I get amazed. In fact, I'm having goosebumps saying this. To think that the order came from the Almighty, and yet one woman defied it. She said, not me, I'm not going to die. I've set my boundaries, I'm going to live, and I'm going to do what other people are not doing. I'm going to accept these strangers. So she took them in, defied everything, redefined herself, and then she went all out to become a hero. And one of the things that I define the real you, which is this channel, to be, is that it's a place where the hero and the heroines in us come out. Who would have ever thought that a prostitute would one day become a hero? Who would have ever thought? Who would have ever given her that chance? That is the benefit of standing out. That is the benefit of not just following the crowd for the sake of following the crowd. That is the benefit of telling yourself, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to be. This is what I want to have. And this is what I want to be known for. When you have those things spelled out, you will know that it's not everything that comes around you that you accept. You will accept the things that you know that are important and are valuable and are adding value and are making you to be the person that you want to be. If you don't have a clear definition of who you are, what you can do, where you're going to, then anything that comes would make you to fall. I'm going to give us another example again of somebody that stood out. Like I said, I think I mentioned him, is a man that was defined by a circumstance called blind Bartimaeus. They couldn't just call him Bartimaeus, but they had to add blind to differentiate him. So he was defined by a circumstance, like I told us, interplay of people, places, and events. But you know what he did? People were coming around him. Just like Rahab saw people and she navigated her way with the people that came around her. People were coming around him. He was hearing the noise. He couldn't see, but he was determined. But he refused to allow the stigma stick, the stigma of blindness. He was hearing the people and he had told himself, today I'm going to be different. I'm not just going to be in the crowd. Wherever you find yourself, you need to ask yourself, in what ways am I going to be separate from the crowd? So what did he do? He left the crowd and he moved to where he would get his healing. And guess what? You know the story like I do. When they asked him, what do you want? He said, that I may receive my sight. Wow. He left the crowd and went for his sight. He redefined himself. Look here, in life, people will call you names, like they called him blind Bartimaeus. But it's up to you. What do you call yourself? What is the thing that you have decided to call yourself? Are you going to sit down in the crowd, talking, making noise, jesting, gisting, complaining? Or are you going to go out of the crowd to get into somewhere different? Are you going to be known for something different, or are you going to be known as somebody that was in the crowd? It's very important. That's the next thing. And I'd like to talk about some other person, which is Caleb. It's also in the book of Joshua. We know the story of how Caleb, in the book of Joshua, we know the story of how Caleb had a different mind. There were 12 people. 10 had uniform reports, wonderful reports. 10 people. And you know, in our society, we always tell ourselves that majority carries the vote. Life is not democracy. Life is being individualistic. Life is about you. Life is not a crowdfunding thing. Life is not a mob action. Life is you deciding what you want to do with yourself and looking for every available opportunity to enhance the things that are around you, the people that are around you, to be that special person. You know, some people are very fond of complaining. I wish I had these parents that were rich. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. Now listen to me. Not every tree is tall. Not every tree is 9 feet tall. Not every house is big. Not every river is big. But guess what? A river is a river. A tree is a tree. And not every tree performs the same function. The day the banana decides to become a plantain, it ceases to be a banana. The day a mango decides to become an orange, it ceases to be a mango. Your uniqueness is in you, and that's who you are. And that's what this channel is all about. This channel is all about helping you to be that very special person. Because it is in being that very special person you can go inwards and bring out that unique thing that is inside of you, with which you can live life and become an overcomer and become an impactful person and become somebody who cannot be ignored. You can be ignored in a crowd, but you cannot be ignored when you stand out with a purpose that you're pursuing. This woman was a prostitute, Rahab. But by the time she singled out herself, she navigated away with the people that came around her. She went further to separating herself. by all the actions she took. She was no longer a mean woman. She was no longer a pushover. She was no longer in the crowd. She was somebody that you would want to identify with. The same thing with Caleb. Caleb did not follow the 10 people. He took a minority opinion. That's to corroborate what I said about defining your own situation and giving it your own name. He said, I agree with you. This is what the news is saying. This is what the papers are saying. This is what everybody is saying. But guess what? There is a wherewithal. There is a strength that is within me. There's something that is within me that I know that I can use to go in and take over that mountain. I can go in and take over that situation. I can go in and change the situation. Therefore, I refuse to succumb to the news. I refuse to succumb to the headlines. I refuse to succumb to the seemingly obvious situation because I know that I can, because I have the wherewithal to do it. He redefined it. He left what the news was saying. The news is very good. It helps to educate us and inform us. But you see, every information or any information that limits you, you need to look at it again. Textbooks are good. Books are good. Religion is bad because religion limits. But when you connect to the source that never dries, you will agree with me that the sudden I can, I am, I will would begin to pop out from you all the time. That's why you can see people like, Caleb, give me this mountain. How? Where do you have the strength from? He says, he defined himself. He said, I still have the strength like I had 40 years ago. A man defined himself. He did not allow the circumstances to define him. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that you have to decide to give a name to your circumstance, to give a name to your situation. Do not allow anybody name it. What have you called what is happening to you? Have you called it the end? Or have you called it transition? Or have you called it, this is good, but there's something better? It's all up to you. You can name whatever name you want. You can give whatever name you want to give to your circumstance. That said, one other thing that can make you stand out is the right company. Who are your team members? Who are you moving with? You know, I always say this, sometimes some relationships expire and you will see it. I've written it in the book. The PDF is there, it's free, you can read it. Some relationships may expire, like what happens in the football field. I talk about football a lot, even though I don't watch it. A football field where you see the manager or the coach would remove some people and put some people, injecting strength into you. Some people may not go with you through the 90 minutes. 90 minutes there represents your lifetime or that circumstance that you're going through. Some people may need to be dropped and new energy may be needed to be put inside. So, what do? Choose your team. The time comes when it doesn't matter the number. Like Caleb, he had to let go of the 10. Like Bartimaeus, he had to let go of the crowd. You must let go of them and tell yourself, I'm joining the winning team. Then, when you've done that, it's important that at each point in time, you must have your beliefs. Beliefs can take you anywhere and they can also limit you. You must have your values. You must have your beliefs. You must have your values, what you stand for, what you don't stand for, what you can do, the things that make you you. Create them. Again, I'd like to say that our school systems, please, I do not have any issues with education. Do not get me wrong. But I'd like to say that our school systems most times limit us a lot. And there's one more thing that is very important that can make you stand out. Like I had said before, but I need to just throw some more light into it, is your intentions. Be very, very intentional. What do you want? Life is not a game of chance. It's not a game of luck. It's a game of intentionality, if you want me to use that word. It's a game of being purposeful. Everything starts with purpose. What do you want? Rahab said that me, I will be saved when you come to destroy the city. My family will be saved when you come to destroy the city. And the guy said, deal, we have a deal here. Blind Bartimaeus, what do you want? It was intentional. It was not beaten about the bush. He said that I might receive my sight. My sight, intentional. It wasn't beaten about the bush. It was clear on it. Be intentional. Make your intentions very clear. Go to bed thinking about your intentions. Wake up thinking about your intentions. Tell people about your intentions. Speak it out. You know, Ecclesiastes talked about the fact that even the walls have ears. Words are what the world is created with. In the beginning, God said. John came and he said, without the word was not anything made that was made. The word is life. The word that I speak to you, they are spirit and they are life. Words. When I was growing up, it wasn't about the Bible, but it was about more of tradition that was handed over. Most of us grew up into settings where a lot of things were handed over to us. And because man had always been connected to God in one way or the other, we were told, don't say this. And if you have to say something that is not in line with what is expected, you were told to go back and unsay it. Curses were unsaid. Negative words were unsaid. They will tell you, go back and unsay it, go back and unsay it. That's because they know that words have power. So words are very powerful. So you say it, speak it before you wake up, speak it when you want to go to bed, speak it when you are around your children, speak it when you're around your friends, and let them begin to know you for that. I share this story of somebody whom I know who had intended that she's a Nigerian, but she's going to get married to a Briton. And did it happen? Yes, it happened. Are there Nigerians in? She's never traveled out, but somehow the people around heard, the universe heard, everything heard, and they began to work to make sure that she got her intention. So be very, very intentional. If I walk up to you now and I ask you, what do you want? If I walk up to you now and I say, what do you want? What would be your answer? At each point in time in our lives, it's very important that we have clearly spelled out intentions. What are your intentions for that person? What are your intentions for that relationship? What are your intentions for that place? What are your intentions for that job? What are your intentions for that society? What are your intentions for that group that you belong to? What are your intentions? To be futile, it will be a waste of time if you just have a place where you meet, you talk, you eat, and you go back. No intentions. What are you gathering for? Is it just a place for wasting time? If it's a place where you say, okay, it's a place where I go for socials, then it's a clearly defined and is intentional. When I wake up and I'm going to this place, I'm just going to eat, drink, wine, dine. That's a clear intention. But if it's just for the sake of doing what you're doing without any clear intention, then you may just have left everything to chance. Like Rahab that we talked about, if she just entertained the men, she finished entertaining them, she saved them, protected them, and when everything was done, she told them, bye. When you come to destroy, we will just be there. Oh, she didn't just say anything. They wouldn't have saved her. Now that's a mystery. But she was very intentional. Before the spies came, I'm sure she had already made up her mind. So when they were coming in, she knew that these men were not the men that I know. Somebody sometimes sarcastically said, she's in the trade of dealing with men. So she knew these men were new men in town. Well, that's on a lighter mood. But when she saw the men, I don't know how they approached her, but she made her home available for them. She was very, very intentional about the relationship. The relationship was not just one of those ones. It was a situation where these men are coming to town. What are they coming for? Okay, they're coming to spy the land. I'm going to connect with them. Next time you see people, remember we're talking about navigating between people, places, and events. Next time you see people, just don't go into people because you just want to have a relationship with them. You must have clearly defined intentions. And our intentions are somehow linked with our beliefs and our values. You have them around you. I must be saved. I'm not going to die with these people. I'm not going to be a C student. I'm not going to be an E student. I'm not going to be in lack. And when you have your intentions clearly set out, everything goes to work to make sure that you get it. That's what happened. That was the same thing that happened to blind Bartimaeus. I don't want to call him blind again because we have gone away from the situation describing him to now intention. To Timaeus, Bartimaeus. This was what happened to Bartimaeus. Clearly defined intention. People are around you. I don't care about what the people around me are here for. For me, my intention is to receive my sight. Did you see one thing running through them? Clearly defined. If you don't have what you want in simple sentence, not ambiguous, then you may make your life complicated. But when you have what you want, your intentions in simple sentence, it makes life very easy. What do you want to be? I want to be an aeronautic engineer. What do you want to be? I want to become the governor of my state when I turn 40. See how clearly defined it is. What do you want to be? I want to be an international bestseller author. What do you want to be? I want to be a multi-millionaire. These are clear intentions. But if you have something like this, what do you want to be? Well, I just want to get by and by. I just want to go around. No, they're not clear. But when you have it clearly defined, unambiguously stated, that even when they wake you up, you are sure this is what you want. It wasn't an issue of too many talks. The difference between people who are intentional are that they know what they want and they are specific about what they want. So you go to Caleb, you will hear him say, this mountain, give it to me. I am able to go all out. Specifically, he said, give me this mountain. So what are we talking about here? It's the fact that if you allow life to define you, then you will just be define life. And you call life a name. You give your life a name, you give your circumstance a name. Just like we name our children, we name our houses. People build houses and they say, this is palace, this is a villa of whatever. You give the name. So once you give the name sticks. If you say this is a villa of paradise, this is a hall of paradise, this is a home of paradise, this is a home of peace, automatically peace begins to come into you. So that's just like we call names, that's how you call your situations, you call your circumstances, and then you go ahead to make sure that you get the right team that will enable you to achieve that which you are intending to do. And you can't go far if you don't have your personal values. It's very important. It cannot be overemphasized. And then from time to time, you need to know that life may not give you what you want, but you can turn around what you want. You can turn around what you see to suit what you want. For instance, I always give this example of people getting into a new place. Remember, we always talk about navigating between people, places, and events. You get into a new place, most times you probably see a piece of land. The land is empty. So you will now put into that land what you want to see. So the land would succumb to what you put into it. It's what you put into it that you get out of it. It's what you put into the land that comes out, whether it's in form of a crop or it's in form of a house or whatever. Or you move into a house, it's the decor you put into the house that gives you that ambience. So you are the one who would create what you want. It's very, very important. If you live life to, okay, whatever happens, whatever people throw into it, you will get that. That's not the kind of life. You have to define your life. Do not let anybody define it for you. Do not choose people that will not help you to achieve your purpose. Be very intentional. Yeah, I'm going to wrap up with intentional. Intentionality is very important. That's because you will ask yourself some questions. This thing that I want to do, is it going to take me close to what I want to do? This person that I'm talking to, is it going to take me closer to what I want to do or who I want to be? Look at the situation of Rahab. She knew that if she needed to be saved, then she was aligned with people who can make her to be saved. If she aligned herself with people who were going to be destroyed, she would have been destroyed. But she aligned herself with who were going to be saved. The next thing you're going to ask yourself is, this thing I want to do, is it going to make me fulfill my intentions? This action I want to embark on, this is it going to help me? This book I'm going to read, this movie I'm going to watch. I'm not taking away leisure, but I'm talking about being very, very intentional. If you're not intentional, then anything that comes your way, you add it and then you keep going, and that's how you will be moving with life. But honestly, if the person is not going to add, the person is not going to move you closer, then you may not need the person. The action you're going to take, is the action going to move you closer to your intention? Is it going to make you achieve your intention? Look at the lives of people who achieved anything. They had to be very, very intentional. Sometimes people would say they're obsessed with their dreams, obsessed with their visions. Yeah, that's the truth. If you're not obsessed enough with your dream or your vision, then you may not achieve it. But if you are so passionate about it that you're consumed with it, that whatever is not going to add to it, you yank it off. Whatever is a waste of time, you yank it off. And you're like a person who has a target. Have you seen people who do sports, maybe those ones who are high jumpers? Wow, their focus is on the other side. I used to give this example a lot when I was younger and I was in secondary school. We used to try out a lot of sports because that's where they begin to choose people from. And so you look at the height. Most of us, we've already given up before we want to jump because we can't. But if you want to go to a certain height, then you must see yourself already on the other side. Otherwise, you will just go and then you realize that no, I can't make it. Or you would have already seen yourself on the other side before you even take the leap. So you need to be intentional and ask yourself, this action, is it going to take me to where I'm going to? If it's not going to take you to where you're going to, then it's a waste of time to actually embark on that or carry out that action. And from time to time, it's important that you reevaluate your values and ask yourself, are they still relevant? Are my values still relevant to my intentions? Are they still going to be the things that propel me to who I want to be? You need to reevaluate again and again. That's where most people lose out because they become very rigid. They don't want to change. Change is inevitable. You see, the plants that we have, I learn a lot from plants. The plants that we have, all the plants that you can think of, I learn a lot from them. Because when a certain time comes, they shed off everything. Doesn't that look like when the team members are changed? They shed off all their trees, they shed off everything. And what do? They will go back to begin to grow new ones. What if they stayed back to say, oh, I don't want to change. I just want these old leaves to be there with me. What would have happened to them? They would have just stayed there with dead leaves. Change. Be flexible. Reevaluate your beliefs. Put them side by side with your intentions and ask yourself, are they still relevant? Reevaluate your values. Add new ones. Expand them. Make them to be relevant with the times that you're in. It's very important. If your values are obsolete, your beliefs are obsolete, how would you achieve your intentions? Well, that said, I want to quickly wrap up what I've just said today. I've said to us today that being different, separating yourself, standing out can actually save you. And what are you saved to do? You're saved to be that real person that you are. What are you saved to do? You're saved to make an impact. Everybody we talked about today, they did not just get saved for the sake of it. Rahab became a part of the lineage of Jesus. What are we talking about? Caleb is known today as a hero. Rahab, we know today as a hero. She stood out in her time. You are living in your time today, and it's important that you look at these principles and see how you too can stand out. How would you do that? Like I said, do not let circumstances define you. Do not let people define you. Do not let places define you. But you give your own definition of the situation. Define the situation by yourself, which is very important. And I said to us, number two, we must think of how we're going to arrive at our intentions when we choose the right company. And I said to us, we cannot do anything if we're not purposeful and intentional about life. Be very clear, state it clearly. What do you want? In clear terms, what do you want? You must have an answer of what you want in a place, what you want in a person, what you want in a relationship, what you want for your life as a whole. Life would give to you if you are very, very intentional. But if you leave it to chance, it's going to be anything that comes may just throw a little sprinkle to you, and that's what you will achieve. That's why people who are intentional are very different. And the last but not the least is that from time to time, let your values and your beliefs be re-evaluated to suit the current times that you're in. If you stay where you were 20 years ago, you'll be obsolete. So make your beliefs and your values to suit the situations and the times that you're in. That way, you would change. We saw that being displayed where Rahab had to leave her profession and to enter into something new. She had to do that. When blind Bartimaeus had to leave where he was sitting and begging to go into somewhere, when Caleb had to leave the people who went out with him to stand out, to say, I'm able. The spirit of I am able is in everybody. The spirit of I can do it is in everybody. We're all empowered to be the best versions of ourselves. We're all empowered to be strong, to go out there, to make impact. There is a hero and a heroine in you. Once again, this is the real you. And this is the place where we look at you as a winner. This is a place where we look at you as a dreamer and a doer. This is a place where we look at you to say, if others can, you too can. This is a place where we bring out the principles of life and apply them to ourselves so that we can be the very best version of ourselves. This is the real you. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell icon. And don't forget to comment. What do you think about Rahab? What do you think about Caleb? What do you think about blind Bartimaeus? What do you think about standing out? What do you think about being intentional? What do you think about having values? And what do you think about reevaluating your values and your beliefs? What do you think about giving a name to your circumstance? What do you think about getting the right team? What do you think about changing your team to suit your purpose? Do you think life is about chance? Or do you think life is intentional or life is meant to be purposeful? I like to get your feedbacks in the comment section. Until I come your way again, I like you to know that you are unique, you are special, and you are created a winner from the womb already. And just carry that in mind to know that you can win all the time. That said, I want to leave you with these words. Life is meant to be intentional. Life is meant to be lived purposefully. And you are one of your kind. You're created to stand out.